Hello, hello. Today we are doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to do a 17-minute stretch. So we're just going to kind of work out all the kinks. I know we've been working really hard with all of these Fit in 15 workouts, all the 60-minute sweats. So I wanted to put up something if you're looking for like a longer stretch sequence. And you can come back to this as much as you want. We're going to kind of cover a little bit of everything in this stretch, but it's going to be done in less than 20 minutes. There is a playlist linked below for just like some slow jams if you want something to follow along with. Otherwise, you can put on your own tunes or do it in silence, do it to a meditation, whatever works. Let's start tall and work our way down. By the way, this is not going to be yoga. This is like strictly like a stretch, okay, where we are going to be doing some dynamic and some static movements. Let's start with our head over to one side, nice gentle pull, just feeling a nice stretch in our neck and the shoulder. We're going to stay there for 12 more seconds before we switch to the other side. Breathing into it and gently pulling that head with each breath. In 5, 3, 2, 1, swap it. Same thing other side, nice gentle pull, pushing that shoulder down away so you can even deepen that stretch through the shoulder. In 10 seconds, we're going to do some head circles, and I want you to go all the way around if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, just swing from shoulder to shoulder and take it nice and slow. 3, 2, 1, sweep it all the way around. Once you get all the way back to your starting point, you can reverse it and go all the way around the other direction. Trying to keep those shoulders down, away from the head. Breathing through these circles, releasing any tension that you're carrying in your neck or your back. 5 seconds, then we're going to stretch out our shoulders. In 3, 2, 1. Grab one arm across your body. Nice little hug, shoulder stays down, away from the ear. If you did my other, the 2 workouts this week, you will notice Sully is like very obsessed with being on camera these days. But you got to admit, this is pretty cute, being between the live shot. 5 seconds, then we're switching sides. 3, 2, 1, swap it. Same thing other side. Nice pull so that we can feel the back of the shoulder and a bit of the upper back, but keeping the shoulder down away from the ear. So don't let it creep up here. We want it pulled down. 8 seconds. Then we're going to do some nice arm circles like we do in our warm-ups. In 3, 2, 1. Big circles back. Loosen up those shoulders. Feeling some cracks, a few more, and then just continue with the shoulders, not the whole arm circle, just a nice little shoulder massage for yourself. Couple more, and then let's go into some open and hugs. Alternate which arm hugs on top, open and hug, stretching out the chest, the shoulders, the back, all at once. And then we're going to stay hugged, and we're just going to squeeze the abs and twist to one side, feeling the back and the obliques. Once you make it over to one side, come back to neutral, and then squeeze and twist the other way. You can kind of look over that shoulder and just move within a comfort zone for you. In 3, 2, 1, tricep. Grab that elbow behind the head, nice gentle pull until you can feel that tricep stretch, just letting the hand dangle down the back. And again, with each breath, gently pulling further into that stretch. One more breath here, then we'll switch to the other side. In 3, 2, 1, swap it. Same thing, other side. Gentle pull, hand dangling down the back, finding that tricep stretch, lengthening that muscle. Couple more breaths. Then we're going to put the feet together, and we're going to grab the hands behind the back. In 3, 2, 1, feet together, grab the hands behind the back, get some height, and then hang over. See if the gravity can pull. Oh my God. Pull those hands up higher. And then we're going to release the hands. We're going to stay here with the little stretch over the beagle. And we're going to continue to stay in this hamstring stretch, but I want you to peel one toe off the floor. Even if that means you have to come up higher, bring that toe right off the floor and pull yourself into that leg. Stay there for a breath. 3, 2, 1, same thing other side. Peel that toe off. Find a spot where you can feel the stretch. You can stay in it, but you're not like bending that knee. Stay in it for 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Both feet down, gentle bend of the knees, and I want you to slowly roll up, like super, super slow, feeling every inch of that rise. Once we get up, nice wide stance, give me a side bend. Big reach over, feeling a nice stretch in your oblique, even in the low back. Side bends are amazing for the low back. Now let's come all the way over to this opposite foot. So try to grab onto that foot, and you can even push the hip away from you, and then come back up, and we'll switch and do the exact same thing. So give me that side bend first, reaching, finding that oblique stretch. From here, we're gonna go all the way over to that opposite foot, and we're gonna push that hip away if that feels comfy for you. Kind of feeling that opposite low side of your low back. And then come up, and we're just gonna do some circles. So side bend over, but then come all the way down to the center, all the way over to the other side, and up, and then just reverse it. Side bend, all the way over to the center, all the way to the other side, and up. Couple more. Over, center, other side, and up, over, center, other side, and up. Let's come down to the center, hang out here, feeling that stretch in your hips, your hamstrings. Stay there for a nice deep breath. In 7 seconds, we're gonna go a little bit wider. We're gonna turn the toes out, and we're gonna do a plie squat. 3, 2, 1. So you can stay low, turn those feet out, go wider if you need to, and I want you to use your elbows or your hands if the elbows are a little too low to push the knees back away from you. So you can feel like a crazy inner thigh stretch. Stay there for 5 more seconds, then we're gonna twist into a deep lunge in 3, 2, 1. Twist into a deep lunge. My front knee is bent, very hard to see me through a beagle, but my back leg is straight, and I'm gonna stay there, reaching through that back heel. So I want you to lengthen that back leg. Feel that stretch in like the back hip and quad. Stay there for 3, 2, 1. Bend that back knee, relax your foot, come up a little higher, and push deeper into that stretch. If this is not comfy on your knee, you could put like a little towel or face cloth underneath it to give you some more cushion, but really leaning forward so we can feel this hip. Stay there for another breath. In 3, 2, 1. We're gonna take a side bend towards the front leg, so away from the back leg, just deepening that hip stretch and also feeling the obliques. 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Rock back a little bit. We're going to go into pigeon. So bend this front knee. Sit down or lay down into pigeon. So I like pigeon where my front knee is bent. Watch it up. And my back leg is straight, but I'm seated. That way I use my body weight to kind of push my hips down. A lot of people feel it better if they lay flat, if they lay forward onto the floor. So you do whatever is comfy for you. Stay there for 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. We're gonna go into downward dog. So tuck this back toe under, reach through the heels. Feel that stretch all along the back of your legs. And then we're gonna come forward onto the other side. Front knee bent, back leg straight, reaching through that back heel, dropping the hips. Front shin is straight up and down, knee stacked over the ankle. And really push those hips down, but don't compromise by pushing the hips down by bending that knee. I want you to keep that back leg straight. In 3, 2, 1. Bend the back knee, relax the foot, come up a little taller, and push the hips forward. Whew, this is like the best hip stretch. So good. Stay there for 2 more deep breaths. Find a spot where you can really feel this hip of the back leg and the quad. In 3, 2, 1. Add a side bend towards the front leg. So we're lengthening that oblique and that hip. Stay there for 5. Then we're going to pigeon in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to need that leg celly. Come back to neutral so you have some space to bend this knee and sit down or lay down into pigeon. Again, you can sit up or you can lay flat. And if this doesn't feel totally comfy for you, if pigeon is a little bit too much, you could gently bend the back knee and kind of twist the hips a bit. But if you can stay forward, that's where you're going to feel it the best. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to flip around this way so you can see me a little better. So coming out of pigeon, I want you to bend this back knee, like you're kind of in like fifth position if you were ever in ballet. And we're gonna switch from one side over to the other side. Sylvie, watch out, buddy. Watch out so they can see me. You're here, and you're just switching over. Over here, look. Go. Go get it. He's not having this switch. There we go. One side, over to the other side. If that's not comfy, just work within a range of motion that is comfy for you. And then from here, feet together, butterfly. You can use your elbows to push your knees away as you lean forward and feel like an amazing inner thigh and hip stretch. Stay there for another breath. And then we're gonna spread the legs out into like a straddle sit. And we're gonna do a side bend. So I want you to come over to one side. I love this one also for the low back. And then come over to the other side, keeping the chest up pretty high so we're not caving forward. And then come up and we'll go to the center. Leaning into that stretch, feeling the inner thighs, a little bit of the hamstrings. We're gonna get more of the hamstrings in 10 seconds when we're gonna take the legs together and we're gonna do a seated hamstring stretch. In 3, 2, 1. So come on up, take the legs together. I want you to start by pointing the toes and lean forward, grabbing on like legs, feet, whatever you got, pulling yourself in. Once you get there, gently flex the feet, pull the toes back towards you. That will intensify the stretch, feeling the hamstrings, a little bit of your calves. And then from here, we're just gonna sit up, feet on the floor, hands braced behind you. We're gonna do a hip stretch. So cross one leg over the other, actively push this knee away and sit up as close as you can. So push your body towards that leg. I love this hip stretch. If this feels like a little bit contortionist to get into for you, if maybe your hips are super tight, this same thing can be done standing. We often do that as a stretch at the end of our workouts. So just standing with the supporting leg slightly bent, switch sides. The seated position is just like a little more intense. You have a little more leverage and everything's a little bit closer together. Stay there for a few deep breaths. So sorry if I wasn't clear for the standing version. It's the exact same as this, except instead of in a seated position, you are standing, but this bent knee is still bent and the crossed over leg is still bent, and you just push this knee away from you. 3, 2, 1. We're actually gonna flip over to all fours, hands and knees, and I want you to go through some cat to cows. Nice and slow, a big arch, looking up at the ceiling, and a big round, looking at your legs. Go from the side. Big arch, looking up at that ceiling, and a big round, looking at your legs. Taking your time going through those movements, really feeling any tension released from the low back. In 3, 2, 1, we're gonna stay in cow, so we're gonna stay in that arch, and we're gonna swing our hips from one side to the other side. This might be better for me to go from this side. So just sweeping the hips so you can barely see. There you go. From one side to the other, noticing if you feel any tension in the low back. 3, 2, 1, stay on all fours. We're gonna reach under to the opposite side. I want you to drop the back of your shoulder right into the mat if you can. Head down, totally relaxed, feeling that stretch in your shoulder and your upper back. Stay there for 5 more seconds, and before we do the other side, we're gonna do our chest. 3, 2, 1. So we're gonna come back to all fours, the same arm you just used, out to the side, and I want you to drop that front of the shoulder. You can go wider with the supporting hand if you need to, into the floor, feeling that stretch in the front of the shoulder and the chest. The more you twist your body away from it, the harder it's gonna be. 3, 2, 1, back to all fours to the other side. So first, the reach under, drop the back of the shoulder into the floor, feeling the shoulder and the upper back. Staying there for a nice deep breath. In 5 seconds, we're gonna do the same arm for our chest. 3, 2, 1, come back to the center, take that arm out to the side, widen your supporting stance if you need to, and drop the front of the shoulder down. Feel that front of the shoulder and the chest stretch. Stay there for 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Back to all fours. We're going to take the feet a little bit, or the knees a little bit wider. Sit back into child pose. Drop your forehead right down into the mat. Drop your hands onto the mat. Feel that stretch in your upper back and your hips. Stay there for 5 more seconds. Then we're going to walk both hands to one side and go for it. So take both hands over to one side. Now you should feel like a big stretch in the opposite shoulder and oblique. Stay there for a deep breath. You can press those hands in and pull that body away from it to even feel the stretch more. In 3, 2, 1, we're going to walk it over to the other side. Same thing, big reach over, feeling that opposite shoulder and your oblique. Stay there for 2 deep breaths. In 5 seconds, we're going to come up to all fours again. In 3, 2, 1, up to all fours. This time we're going to take the knees wider. So widen out those knees, and we're going to try to push the hips towards the floor and back so that you can feel the inner thighs like crazy. I'll go from the side so you can see a little better. So nice and wide, and then kind of sit back in it, but you need to be wide enough that you can feel the stretch. From this one, we're going to come in a little bit and go into puppy pose. So keep the butt high, but take the chest and the shoulders low. So hard to see me with Sully. I'm so sorry. Work from home problems. In 3, 2, 1. One more time, let's go into downward dog. So tuck the toes under. This time we're going to stay here for a little while. So just reach through those heels. Feel that stretch all along the back of the legs. No tension in your neck or spine. Stay there for 5 more seconds. In 3, 2, 1. Walk your hands and your feet together nice and slow. Stay there for a breath. If you'd like to grab the backs of your heels or legs and pull yourself in closer, you can. This is very relaxing, Sully, you pushing your body against my head. And then gently roll yourself up. That is it, guys. We'll probably do some of these like every once in a while, throw them in there. But again, you can come back to this one whenever feels good for you, but hopefully you're relaxed, you've released some tension in your body, and you feel good and prepared to take on the week. Thank you so much.